Hello, everyone. Welcome to another installment of the Jiu-Jitsu Times podcast. As you can tell, I'm solo today once again, so don't expect too much. I'll do my best to try to make this thing work as smooth as I can. The good news is that I have a guest that I'm very, very familiar with, someone that I've trained with quite a bit. Who I see his pretty face all the time, usually kicking my ass. So today on my solo show, without the accompanying of my professional Kevin Bradley, we've got Dan Martinez, BJJ black belt, ADCC competitor, current combat jiu-jitsu world champion, and the prettiest man in jiu-jitsu. What's going on, brother? How are you, man?
One of them. Second after you, of course.
How's training going, man? You doing all right?
Yeah, man. Training's obviously picked up a lot more. Finally got another match lined up, so that gives me, something to train for, a little motivation to finally, get the ball rolling again.
You got a super fight lined up? What are you doing?
Yeah, so it was actually I've been talking to Eddie the last couple of weeks, and he wanted me to defend the 185 belt for combat. However, obviously I'm not that weight anymore, so. After a couple of conversations, yada, 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 I'm going to be December 20th in Cancun on the all-women's card. I'm going to be fighting Kyle Baum in the main event.
Oh, wow. Dope, bro. Yeah. In a combat format or in
Yeah, CJJ sub-only at 205.
Oh, nice, bro. That's pretty cool. Is that big fucker going to be able to get down to 205?
No, he needs to.
Better. That's good. That's good for you, man. That's cool because he's going to be sucked out cutting that weight to get down to 205, man.
Exactly. Originally he wanted me against John Blank at 185, but it's same day weigh-ins, and I was like, listen, man, I'm not a weight cutter.
Yeah, right.
Sitting at around 202, I was like, I'm not gonna lose 20 pounds, so just find me somebody bigger, man.
He's such a big guy. I don't know how he's going to cut down to 205. I guess he can make it. I know he's made it before. I think he's made
it before. I've met him in the past. I believe I'm a little bit taller, so he's big, but I think he can definitely make it, but I know I wasn't making 185, so I told him 205 and up from now on.
Yeah, dude, that's where I'm at. But I'm supposed to do a 205 match on one of Josh LeDuc's cards coming up pretty soon.
Oh, yeah,
I'm like 220 now. Yeah, he wants me to go up to Memphis. I'm kind of on the like, I haven't been training much because I've been just a fat piece of shit and busy, and my knee's fucked up, and all the other excuses that I give you every time you ask me why I'm not training.
I'm excited for tonight's excuse.
Yeah, but
write them down.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I don't even want to mess around trying to hit 205, and it's a couple weeks. It's like the weekend before the Pans, and the Pans are in Atlanta. So I think I want to do the Pans because we're gonna have a big crew go up there and do because they're in Atlanta and stuff like that. So I may drop out, I may not. But that's a big fight for you, that compliment. I think it's a good fight simply because he's a jiu-jitsu guy. You know what I mean? There's going to be elements, obviously, of combat jiu-jitsu involved. Mm-hmm. But I see this to be a pretty pure jiu-jitsu type match, which is what I think of you when I think of the combat jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've worked a lot on other areas of my game during this lockdown. I haven't competed since February, and I mean, some of the things I've been focusing on. So I think my game has changed, but realistically, I think we have similar styles, as in good leg locks, good back control, good rear naked chokes, good kimuras. Both are long guys. Both are good guard players. So, yeah, that's going to be a fun match.
Yeah.
We'll see who hits who harder.
I'm gonna get to you pretty soon about some leg lock stuff because I want to talk about the IBJJF and leg locks, but we'll get back to that soon. So, tell me a little bit about some of your differences in game plans when you go into a combat jiu-jitsu match versus a regular jiu-jitsu match.
Man, in reality, I think the only thing that changed. So the first time I did the EBI a couple of years back, I was expecting like a heavy ground and pound assault. You had guys like Jesse Taylor in it, Josh Neer, MMA fighters, and I'm like, ooh, man, those guys are gonna come like ready to throw some hands, But I realized that it wasn't necessarily that. Neurologically, you're really not gonna get knocked out with an open palm strike. So
it's just annoying. It just hurts. It's a pain in the ass.
It's annoying. I kind of compare it to like shoulder pressure. What time is it pressure? It's gonna affect what I'm doing at that moment in time. But I I think once you get used to the strikes, it shouldn't be the deciding factor of a win or a loss, unless of course it's like a TKO. But in preparation for the last EBI that I won, I did no strikes at all whatsoever.
Yeah, and I see a lot of guys getting ready for combat jiu-jitsu matches, and when I watch them get ready for matches, like they change their entire approach.
Yeah,
like they start thinking about, we got to worry about using the strikes and stuff like that. And what I see in reality are the guys that do the best, with the exception of Wagner, of course, because he's got those big freaking hands. He smacks you. Wagner might knock you out one of them minutes.
That is not a fun training round, I'll tell you that.
Not at all. But with the exception of Wagner, I see the guys that go into combat jiu-jitsu with the mindset of focusing on jiu-jitsu first and not getting caught up in the idea of strikes being incorporated.
Exactly.
Do the best.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, I think out of all the EBI combat jiu-jitsu tournaments, I don't think any of them have been won by guys that come from an MMA background. It's always, I think they make it more entertaining, but you're right. It always ends up being the guys that have the most success are the ones that focused on the jiu-jitsu. And that was it. Yeah, I remember watching the countdown to some of the shows, man. Some of the guys were even like hitting pads, like their coaches were hitting pads, and they're smacking while guard passing. I'm like, man, I'm just gonna go for a head and arm and get chest on chest and pass like that.
And the reality of it is like, just like you said, like a palm strike is a deterrent, and it sucks.
Exactly.
But it's not really like, it's not going to keep me from
it's not going to cut you. It's not going to knock you out. It's not going to make me think, oh, I need to stand up,
Right. And it starts to talk about the true power of jiu-jitsu and how impressive jiu-jitsu is, that like I can negate those stupid little strikes by getting inside and taking my control, using underhooks and things like that.
Now I remember in my mental game planning, I took I looked at, for example, Damian Maia, who literally fights in a cage where you can get knocked out, stopped, and elbowed and cut. And I think he submitted. I think it was like Carlos Condit, Matt Brown, and Neil Magny got hit like 3 times. I think he threw 2 strikes on his way to the back on everybody. So you don't have to throw strikes in order to win a match on the ground that has strikes.
No, I always think about that when I think about the real power and the beauty of jiu-jitsu, and you think about a guy like Damian Maia, and he actually comes out and says, I'm using my jiu-jitsu and MMA to show what the gentle art really is, to show the fact that you can go out there and incapacitate someone in a non-lethal manner and still be able to control and dominate a fight.
Absolutely.
That's cool, man. So let's just get right into it, man. We talked a little bit about combat jiu-jitsu. We're kind of cutting a little bit short. I get it. I would like to ask you a few questions about the ideas of, what you think about combat jiu-jitsu's future. I would like to think that combat jiu-jitsu is something that, it's not my favorite, but what I've noticed a lot lately is that the quality of the matches are starting to improve.
Yes.
While people are starting to realize that strikes are not meant to end fights, but to advance positions.
Exactly. Facilitating movement and transition, get a partner to react. Yeah, I agree. I think the combat jiu-jitsu was it still is a great draw. And I mean, you have to think it's on UFC Fight Pass. So most people that have UFC Fight Pass did not get it because they wanted to watch jiu-jitsu in the gi, for example, or jiu-jitsu period. They want to be MMA fans. So I think that anybody who wasn't a fan of jiu-jitsu will absolutely tune into a jiu-jitsu match that they can essentially slap each other, But I think it's going to continue to grow. Like you said, I myself am not a huge fan of it, but I succeed in it because it's just jiu-jitsu to me, and I'll do any format ever except gi. But yeah, I think it's going to continue to grow, and I think the EBI is going to be obviously the dominant force in the CJJ world.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie is, say whatever you want about Eddie Bravo. That dude is a master of marketing. He understands how to get the people out. He understands how to get people involved. And like the modern professional jiu-jitsu circuit that we're seeing right now, I mean, it's very reasonable to say that the reason why we're even talking right now is because Eddie Bravo with EBI. I mean, like EBI is what set the template for professional jiu-jitsu to come.
I mean, exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth for no gi period. I was just having a conversation with one of my 17-year-old blue belts that wants a super fight, and in my head, I'm like, It's crazy. This kid wants a super fight. Like when I was a blue belt, the only no-gi tournaments were IBJJF, and you had to fly yourself out.
Right, exactly. Right,
or
maybe a Naga down the street.
Yeah,
right,
dude,
exactly.
I don't have a medal anymore, but dude, winning a Naga was everything at the time. It was literally like Naga world champ. Now it's like now you got blue belts getting paid for matches and sub only that wasn't even around. Yeah, and
it blows my mind. Yeah. Like coming up and people like these new guys, they don't really get it, like how amazing their lives are. When we had nothing,
like we literally had nothing. I think the only tournament that had anything close to a no-gi invitational was like Grappler's Quest.
Grappler's Quest, right? Yeah, exactly. And that guy took a bunch of peyote or DMT or whatever and went insane, so he's gone, right?
So there goes that, man. I would love to see it back.
So. Again, we'll get to it now. I want to talk a little bit about jiu-jitsu, but I really got you on for a reason. I want to talk about the IBJJF. So recently, the IBJJF has come to terms with the fact that people hate them slightly. And one of the reasons why so many grapplers are upset with IBJJF is because they don't allow leg locks. So they made the determination to allow heel hooks in general. I don't want to say leg locks. Anything manipulates the knee, heel hooks. So because heel hooks have become such a huge part of modern grappling, and the IBJJF has decided that so many people are turned off by the fact that they can't use their best weapons, they put heel hooks back into the fold. Yeah. So tell me quickly what you feel about that and how you feel that helps the IBJJF or hurts the IBJJF or makes them more legitimate.
I think it'll certainly help in making them more legitimate to the people too. So I always looked at it, and not me, but everybody. You kind of had like the jiu-jitsu world divided in two, right? Like the guys that do sub only and like leg locks, and then the IBJJF and so on. I think them allowing reaping and twisting leg locks and heel hooks will kind of combine that world, but I still don't think the outcomes will be that much different. Right. If you look no further than ADCC, where the opening rounds, and I don't want to say the leg lockers because I think even guys that prefer leg locks are still well-rounded, but let's just go with that term for now. I still think the leg lockers run into the very common strategy of their opponent staying out of leg locks, not attempting to pass as much, but still winning on points. And I still think that will be the case. However, I think a lot more people will compete in it, obviously, and I think a lot more upsets will happen, but the strategy won't change. Everybody in IBJJF will still want to win by an advantage, will still want to win on points. It's still wrestling heavy. They're still going to run out of bounds, and now they're just going to roll out of bounds. Right. And it's going to be interesting, though. I can't say I'm not excited for it.
Speaking about the rolling out of bounds, I'm curious to see how they score because it's going to be something that's going to happen a lot.
I think
technically it's 2 points or it's a qualification. Sometimes I'm curious to see how they're going to do that.
But then here comes it wasn't even tight. What do you mean? Right. I cleared the knee line. Exactly. My knee line was out. But
and if you don't speak Portuguese, you're going to lose that fight anyway. So
my God. Yeah, man. I honestly think it's going to cause more controversy. Like as far as like calls,
and I think of yourself in the same frame of reference when I start to talk about this, by the way, too. Like, there was a time when we had guys that were sub-only grapplers and guys that were points grapplers. You know what I mean? There was a very legitimate divide. Guys like you focused on points matches or you focus on sub-only matches. And the strategies are very, very different between the two.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what we're noticing now with the high-level competitors is the idea that guys, that there's no such thing as one or the other. Like, you have to be that combination of the whole thing. And in order to succeed at a high level, you have to understand the submission game. You have to be willing to hunt for submissions. You have to be willing to attack. And you have to be aware more than anything of other people hunting for submissions. But you still have to recognize and understand the points game,
Absolutely. I think, and like I said earlier, you refer back to past ADCC champions are usually guys who do very well in IBJJF, and they still did not get heel hooked at ADCC. And of course, the point system and stuff is a little different. The length of the match is a little different, but I think the strategy will be the same. And I think, in like quietly, I think the sub only guys are probably like, oh, this is our chance. But even the points players are still very good at defending legs, even if they're not going for them. It's still a passing position. It's still a position to take the back for sweeps. So yeah, it's definitely going to be.
And there's still going to be those old IBJJF Brazilian dudes, or old school schools that don't do leg locks, to kind of stay away from it, that are going to be behind the curve a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, they'll get weeded out at the beginning, but it's not going to be the former champions. It's not going to be the Josh Hingers, the Mateus Diniz. It's not going to be those guys.
And the reason being, and again, just like you said, the reason being is just because it's difficult to win in the IBJJF, because the rules are just it's a completely different strategy.
Completely different. And the matches are short, man. What is it, like 6 minutes?
6 minutes. Yeah, that's nothing.
Dude, that's an open mat. That's an open mat time. That's
exactly. Yeah. These guys, like the idea of sitting back for a leg lock, now you're going to give up 2 points. So all the different factors
exactly
start to fall into place.
Exactly. So I think next year you'll probably see like a big, not a big, but I think you'll see some upsets due to leg locks. And then by the end of the year, closer to the next year, then it'll just be strategizing. How do I still win on points, even though I spun out of a leg lock? Maybe. Exactly.
All the guys that are already winning at the IBJJF
are going to
understand that game.
Yes, they're going to keep winning.
They know enough about leg locks at this point.
Yeah.
Like leg lock, it used to 5 years ago, leg lock. If you knew leg locks, you were like a magician. Like you had a superpower.
Yeah. Otherworldly.
Yeah, right. That time is gone now.
You're still gonna see the Facebook post. Oh, I tried 10 heel hooks and came close, didn't get an advantage, and I lost by an advantage. I'm still that. Yeah, dude, that would have happened in Naga. That would have happened anytime.
100%. That's the thing I laugh. And again, because I saw this whole thing, and immediately in my mind I was thinking, there's all these only leg lock guys are going to be like, yes, I finally go out there and do my thing. But the reality of it is, if you don't know how to wrestle, and you don't know how to pass them, like you ain't winning at the IBJJF.
Exactly.
If you think that, you might upset like Rodrigo, freaking Thiago, freaking Alves. It's never a leg lock in his life. You might catch him in a heel hook once or twice, but you're not going out there and really going with that strategy.
Exactly. All of a sudden, all the IBJJF haters are going to be believers, and then they're going to be haters all over.
Exactly. Then they're going to go back to finding another. That's why I hate the IBJJF.
Exactly. And they took my $120.
This is what I always say. Like, you love the IBJJF or hate the IBJJF. You can have your opinions on the whole thing. Like,
exactly.
Like, you're not a world champion unless you win there. And that's just the one thing I always say. You can bitch about it. You can complain about it. You can say the rules are fucking stilted, and they are. It's a bitch. Yeah. It's a motherfucker to win there, dude.
Exactly.
But if you want to be a world champion, you learn that rule set, and you deal with all the bullshit, and you go out there and you plug away. That's why guys keep doing it.
Absolutely. And it's just like any other challenge. You could very well a sub-only guy could very well win a decision at Fight to Win over an IBJJF world champion, but that doesn't you didn't defeat them in that rule set, and that's the only way you're gonna be able to call yourself a world champion. In my opinion, or legit. But where was I going with this? What I was gonna say was, I lost my train of thought. I don't know.
Hey, I love you. You're beautiful, baby. Just be pretty. I got you, boo. Don't worry about it, man. So, like, I think maybe where you were going a little bit was the idea that, there are other terms. The ADCC, in my opinion, is always the one that I feel has the most clout with the fighters. Like, if you win at the ADCC, like, I don't care how many gold medals you have in the IBJJF, every one of them would trade them all to probably just win the trials anymore.
I was just about to say, I think the trials is harder than the Pan Ams,
Yeah, it is. The ADCC is just another monster. But like, it's still though, like the IBJJF is the one that has the notoriety, has the clout, right? And it's fucking hard, man. It's a bitch. Hard, it's a bitch because of those fucked up, crazy rules.
And I think it's ridiculous that anybody, any school, any competitor, any team, anybody would disassociate themselves with doing it simply because of the rule set. Kind of like what we were talking about earlier. I don't like combat jiu-jitsu, but I'll do it because I know the rules and I'm confident. I've done IBJJF. I've done sub only. I think if you're well-rounded and you know how to prepare, it really shouldn't matter. Basically, if you didn't like IBJJF, it's because, like you said, you don't know how to pass a guard and you don't know takedowns.
Right. No. I hate to say that. It's just one of the things that I see.
Now my wrestling sucks too.
Yeah. No, you're getting better. I know you're working on it a little bit.
It is getting better. Got a little cauliflower too. It's getting better. That's proof. That's real.
One of the things that I always talk about when I talk about like grapplers and what winners do and losers and things like that, and the thing that makes me crazier than any of that is when someone goes into an event and they lose, then the first thing they do is blame the rule set. Like they blame I didn't happen because this, and this, or I got a bad call, or fuck, blah, 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 blah. Like that's what losers do.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me insane when I see that, because the idea is the rules aren't here to benefit you.
Yeah.
The rules are here for you to go figure out how to win there,
Yeah, deciding a winner.
Right, exactly. 100%, man. And when guys post shit like that, it just I look at him, and depending on who it is, I'll kind of be like, all right, whatever. But sometimes it's like, bro, come on, dude, you're better than that.
Exactly. This giant paragraph, like I said earlier, I tried this many submissions. I'm like, so you didn't win.
Yeah, right. So, did you win or lose?
I fully understood the rules. I prepared for weeks, and I did not win. That's what you meant to say.
Exactly, 100%. I try. Well, I'll tell you. Whenever I lose a match, and I pride myself on this. I really do. Like the face. It's funny because you can always, when somebody wins, that shit goes up like. As soon as you're off the mat, there's a picture of you. But when you lose,
everything.
When you lose, you always know when somebody lost. Because there's about 3 hours before you think I don't have to ask. I just look at the Facebook post.
You kind of just check the Facebook. Oof. I'll wait a couple more hours to ask.
Right. But when I lose, I always I try my best, and I pride myself on this, on not making excuses. Like even if believe me, I have gotten anybody that's competed has gotten a shit call. Some of the things that just happen where you're just like, what in the fuck?
Yeah.
But if you tell yourself that you lost because of that bad call and that one mistake cost you a tight match, then you didn't do what you were supposed to do in the first place.
Exactly. And you have something to work on.
Right. Exactly. Like if you would have scored a takedown, or if you would have submitted him, or if you would have done X, Y, Z, then that shitty advantage that the referee obviously gave to his buddy
wouldn't even exist. Yeah.
Wouldn't have made a difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit more. Let's talk some more. I got a few more things for you. I always Kev G. He does such a good job at transitioning. I just got shit written down, and I don't even know where I'm going with this anymore. But how are you dealing with the layoff from the ADCC? Because I know that you were training hard for the ADCC, then they popped this whole freaking COVID.
Man.
Stop it.
Yeah, so I'm still training as if it were in November, especially because the combat jiu-jitsu match will be in December anyways, and wrestling is something that I needed to be doing regardless of ADCC. So I'm just continuing and training as much as I can. But yeah, it's unfortunate, man. I was excited for it. I was kind of in between on what weight class I would do. I believe they said 2 to 4 months, right? Have they mentioned anything about what day to make?
We had Mo on. We had Mo on a couple weeks ago. About a month or so ago, and we talked, and he said he wasn't very optimistic about getting right back into it again. He said that because his major concern is this. Like, he doesn't care much about pushing back the trials as long as he needs to, because the trials, he could probably figure out a place to do the trials.
Yeah.
He just wants the World Championships, the actual ADCC, to be an amazing event.
Exactly.
And he's not sure that they'll be able to put that event on as scheduled at the level that they plan to do. So he wants to push the trials back as long as he needs to.
Yeah.
So
and I called it earlier this year. I said, no way it happens in New York. No way. And I have a feeling that the world champion, because of, it's not even just our trials, it's all over the world. Right. You know, I don't even I called it. I don't even think the world champions will happen next year. I think it'll get pushed back to 2022, and it happens every 2 years. And now it lands at an even number, and it even sounds better. You know,
I think it's going to too. And then I mean, another thing too is we live in Florida, so we're the Wild West. Like we're training whenever the hell we want to. You know, we
never stop.
We give a shit. You know, never stop. We took a couple weeks off, and then we're just right back in the swing.
We were the last ones to close, the first ones to open.
Right, but. other places, and particularly other countries, like they don't have the luxury that we have. Other states that like they're on lockdown. Guys are like scrambling to find 5 people to train with.
Yeah, and what will happen, and I'm sure Mo and the ADCC guys have thought about this, is I think the lack of the best possible preparation for the best possible guys will affect who even goes, you know. And I you know what I mean? Like, I'm not too sure how to word it, but I think they want ADCC, the next ADCC, to be the biggest ever, and I think they're gonna want the best guys, and not the guys that showed up because they have been training, you know, or not the ex-world champion showed up and gassed out because he hasn't been training, you know. So I think everybody's preparation ultimately is huge to when they want to have the actual tournament.
From our conversation with Mo when we had him on, that was pretty much what he was saying. Yeah. Like he pretty much said, look, I understand it's cool, but I want to make sure that this event, we're putting a ton of money in this event. Dude, he talked about it's going to be amazing. It's good.
I can't imagine, man. And Dylan Dennis has to pull out again of this one, man, so I can take a spot. go get dumped again, man, or something.
It's kind of automatic. He likes to talk about it, and then he kind of falls out every once in a while. But this you're gonna win the trials anyways. You don't have to worry.
Yeah, for sure, no doubt.
This ADCC is gonna be special. Like he's already talked about the amount of production value, the amount of things he's going to put at the arenas are massive. It's going to be in Vegas this year. It's going to be fun.
Imagine. I mean, without a doubt, I'm going whether I qualify or not. You know, I can't imagine that. Yeah. I mean, if it's anything like the last years, you know, I couldn't imagine surpassing that. But I believe it.
Every time I watch those ADCC trials footages, I think about how pissed off I still can't believe I didn't go. Like I still can't believe I didn't go out there. I was so mad. I was like, oh, you know what, man? I don't think I can make it. And the fact that freaking Gorilla
coached me at the highest level, dude. And it's so funny because it just lands on Gorilla's lap. I just call him like, yo, bro, what are you doing? He's like, oh, just chilling. I'm like, yo, I'm in Cali, man. I'm competing tomorrow. You want to come?
Right. Kevin's a bitch. He decided he didn't want to fly out to Vegas. He didn't want to fly to fucking Cali to come out and coach me mat side at the biggest grappling event in the history of the planet for some strange reason.
You would have taken so many pictures, bro. You would have loved
it. Well, the Jiu-Jitsu times are there too. They actually called me that day. Like, hey, are you out here with Dan? You really need help doing interviews. Mat side.
You're like, no.
Maybe Gorilla can help.
Gorilla was like, no, he ain't helping.
That's cool, man. So let's talk a little bit about. I got a few more minutes. You got about 5 more minutes to talk.
Yeah, good, bro.
Let's talk a little bit about the ADCC and some of the reasons why so many people love the ADCC and why the fighters really think it's the hardest one and the most accomplished one. And I think part of the reason why is because it's so difficult to score there. Yeah. You know, the idea of scoring is ridiculous. But tell me some of the things you think make that a bit special.
I think special as in special without a doubt, the prestige. You know, I mean, it's there's only 2 ways to get in: an invite if you're already a certified badass, and winning the trials because you're an up-and-coming certified badass, you know? So without a doubt, it's you know, going back to the Worlds, it's awesome if you win the Worlds, but anybody can sign up as long as you're registered, you know? So, but I think what makes it difficult to win and therefore makes it more special to win it is exactly like you said, the rules. It's so hard to score. You cannot pull guard. And, dude, a 30-minute final, that's insane, you know? Yeah. Possible 30-minute final. So I think that it's no-brainer. It's ultimately the most difficult tournament to win, and then everybody does it shirtless, and then they're slippery, and you still can't score. But I think, and I love you win 2 matches, you come back the next day. It just kind of like builds that like, ooh. Like I remember when I walked in the second day, I couldn't even be mad that I lost the first day because I'm like, yo, this is gonna be crazy.
the electricity in that room, man. It's amazing, man. It's amazing.
It's insane, man. And then you get into the absolute, and you see these insane upsets like Lachlan Giles with the heavyweight, you know, where you wouldn't see that at any other tournament.
It's without question, you know, the format, 10-minute matches, 5 minutes of, you know, because you get because it's split that 5 and 5, a lot of what you see happens like this. So you see like a 10-minute match. So the first 5 minutes, a lot of times, are just guys jockeying for position, kind of trying to set a tempo, or
feeling each other out. Yeah, let me figure out what it is you're gonna do when we get to the point part.
Yeah. Or maybe they go for a few heel hooks or things like that to shoot, take chances for leg locks. So in reality, a 10-minute match is now only a 5-minute go for everything, bro. So when you got two dudes that are at the highest possible level, that know they only got 5 minutes to score in an event where you got to put somebody's shoulders to the ground. When you take somebody down, it's not like on the mat, boom, you got to put them on the ground, pin their shoulders to the mat for like 1, 2,
like Mississippi's,
like some of the points I see scored in ADCC, like I'm like, Jesus Christ, like how's that not scored yet? But they get back over again.
Yeah.
Like, so when you see all of those things and you see the drama that starts to materialize off of that, like it's real easy to figure out what the ACC is the granddaddy of it.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I did. Yeah. I mean, I remember when I first started training when I was a kid, like there were so many highlights, like the 2007 highlight on YouTube, 2009, and I'm just like, the whole time I'm like, bro, this is just the little drums. You got the UFC fighters in it. You got that was like a super fight. Was the only super fight there ever really was. The super fight guy and the guy that had just won the absolute. So at the time it was like the Braulio Estimas versus this guy, that guy. So
Popovich.
Yeah, exactly. Those super. Yeah, it's prestigious like no other, man.
There's a cool level of like you're in the, like I always think about this because again, I'm old. I've tried to win that damn thing 4 fucking times.
This next one's your time.
I'll probably try. I say one more go, but I have a feeling I'm going to be out there in my damn walker. Like, Christ, Kevin. All right, come on, buddy, give it another shot. But the idea of winning the trials and just going to the ACC puts you in like the same conversation. It's a super elite club because just like we talked about, we came up in an era when there was no fight to win, there was no grab, Eddie Bravo Invitational. All we had as a professional grappler was the ACC.
Yeah, that was it.
Guys that are legends, Roger Gracie, Marcelo Garcia, like they all dominated there. You get to be on the same stage as those guys.
Man. It was. I mean, and when I went, and I'm not delusional. I know I was a finalist in the trials. I would have loved to have won and like legit went. I still went. Of course, it was great. Whatever, but just being on that mat and competing, you're on the mat and you look over and there's a legend competing against a legend, and then the intercom is announcing the other legend. Like it's impossible to not level up just going, just being there, even if you lose your first match like I did. It's impossible to not feel like you leveled up just having been. Even though I didn't qualify, just being in a little club.
Even though I didn't qualify, then I lost my first match.
and I leveled up, and even though I leveled up, I lost my next match, but that's besides the point.
No, but I mean, like, I agree with you 100%, kid. Like, I think about moments in my life where, like, I have had, like, moments of, like, okay, cool. Like, I feel like I belong in XYZ, or I feel like I am now cool, like relevant because of XYZ. And those are moments that you have to earn. Nobody just gives you that shit. Because you can convince yourself whatever, but until you actually go out there and earn that and get that respect, like, you're not really there. Like, and I think of you as going out and being on the ADCC mats is like, wow, like this is fucking awesome. Like I'm in the conversation. I'm on the stage now.
No, absolutely, man. And like I said, it levels you up mentally, and it's impossible just to not be more, like you said, there's people that can hype yourself up, but competing after a tournament like that is, in my opinion, it's been, I mean, I've only competed once since, but like my mentality after that, the thought of competing is so much more fun because you feel like now the matches are just big name people, and now it's not that excitement of, ooh, I got a big name match coming up, and so they're all going to be like that, Right. And when you feel like you belong and have that sense of confidence, now it's less jitters, less nerves, more like more black and white. Two good guys, let's battle it, see who wins, and then on to the next one. You know, hopefully it's a win, not a loss, and then keep pumping out those matches.
Yeah, that's cool, man. When I think about that, like you know, you gotta beat the man to be the man. You gotta earn that right to walk in the room.
Absolutely, and then keep it, because now you're that man, and then the next person wants to beat you. You know? Now you got the crazy 19 and 18 and 17-year-old kid that is like, I want to roll that kid now before he's like 30.
100%, dude. 100%, dude. Well, dude, man, I think we're good, man. We got a good little conversation. We started a little bit late, and you know, we kind of got a little off base. I wanted to get more into you and talk about you, but screw you, man.
No, next time, you know what you should do. Here's what we can do, though: is you just invite me again.
I got you. We'll figure something out. We'll figure out a way. Maybe after you go beat Kyle Bowman, we'll get you on here to talk some shit.
Yeah, man, we'll have a lot to talk about in December for sure.
Yeah, no shit, man. No shit, dude. I'm personally very excited. I didn't realize you were going against Kyle. I'm excited to see you go out there against that team. And I think
me too, man. Me too. You know, it's always fun to compete against somebody that is good. You know, right. And it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun because he's bigger, you know. But I'm gonna feel great not having to cut any sort of weight or having to watch it or anything. So yeah, I'm excited, man. I had talked to Eddie the last couple of weeks, and I just wasn't gonna say anything till it was signed. Yeah, but, you know, you make a little commercial and yada yada. So I was like, all right, let's tell the world.
I'm stoked, man. My boo Dan Martinez, man. I remember the little kid triangle me with your little skinny legs.
They're growing though, bro. They're growing.
hey, my legs ain't so skinny no more, man.
They're still long, but they're growing. Ankle's still the same size, bro.
Well, my dog, man. So our guest today has been Dan Martinez, 86 veteran, combat jiu-jitsu world champion, and all around awesome dude, man. One of my favorite training partners, man. Anything any sponsors, anything we'll talk about?
No judges needed, of course. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody at the Gracie Tampa Network, Bamboo, Matt, Chris, everybody, you know, for holding it down during this crazy time, crazy pandemic. You know, the fact that we're still able to train together, you know, is awesome. You know, the fact that I can go to your class tonight is freaking awesome. So,
my dog.
Yeah, I'm excited for that, man.
I'm sure I'll find an excuse not to roll you before you get there.
Yeah, I'm just grabbing you first.
I'm feeling good. I'm coming for your ass. I've been training.
I love it, brother. Appreciate you,
man. I've been Kevin Gallagher, man. This is Jiu-Jitsu Times podcast. Thank all you guys for showing up, man. We'll see you next week, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. No doubt.